everybody, my name is Strawberry Tree, the Olympic champion. Chapter 1 Star Search. I found my champion. Hermes peered through the crack in the temple wall. Finished reading the passage, my friend. Are you certain? Caress sounded bored. These time passages aren't a simple matter. You know, none of the other gods could being two. Even being two. I know, Hermes interrupted. That's why I asked you to help me. Trust me, it will be worth the effort if we succeeded. He smiled. Caressed my back. Look more interested now. True, he said. Zeus will never figure out where you found your champion. Hermes didn't respond. He was watching the mortal boy again. It wasn't easy to see through the tiny crack in the wall. Caress, and his lions, but Hermes could see enough. He elated was handsome and strong. His muscles were playing as he ran. Other mortals were chasing the boy, but he outpaced them easily. Suddenly, the boy stopped. He threw something on the ground and then leaped around gracefully. Is he celebrating his victory in the fortress? Hermes thought. Watching him, Hermes had no idea. He always of mortals were often strange and usually not worth puzzling over. But Hermes could tell that this mortal was something special. Finish the passage, he told Caress again. We won't have time to waste if we want to have him ready. Good game, Brody, Coach Smith said as Brody jogged off the field with the rest of the football team. Yeah, I know. Brody puffed out his chest. Thanks, Coach. Do you think we will win the championship this year? Another player glanced over. If you keep making touchdowns, Brody, definitely, he said. Several of Brody's other teammates agreed, though some remained quiet. A few looked unhappy. Brody wasn't surprised. He was only a freshman, but he played better than any of the other older kids. That had to be embarrassing for them. Brody didn't care, though. They should be glad he was on the team. Everyone said he was the best player to attend the high school in years. Maybe he was the best player ever. Brody headed into the locker room. He showered, changed his clothes, and went back outside. A teammate waved goodbye. Are you ready for that science test tomorrow? He called. Brody frowned at him. Who cares about science? The truth was, he hadn't studied for the test yet. Science was hard for him. Science was hard for him, even harder than most of his other classes. But so what? The coach was already saying that Brody was sure to win a college scholarship. When the time came, Brody didn't care much about going to college, but he loved the idea of playing college football. After that, he'd probably be drafted by the professional league, and then he'd be rich. He wouldn't need to know about science to play football. The only schooling he needed was enough math to add up all his money. As Brody was thinking about that, a girl stepped in front of him. He almost crashed to her, but he stopped just in time. Watch it, he said. I'm trying to walk here. I need to talk to you. The girl sounded annoyed. Brody stared at her. She looked familiar. Hey, don't you ride my bus? Yes. The girl sounded even more annoyed now. I sit in the front seat. Even single day science school started. And I'm Julia. Oh, I'm Brody. I know. Julia rolled her eyes. I'm supposed to write an address about you for the school newspaper. Really? Brody strutted. There was an address about me in there 3 weeks ago. I guess it's time for another one. He laughed loudly. Julia didn't laugh. Just so you know, I don't care about football. They are making me do this because the reporter who usually writes the sports stories is sick. Whatever, Brody still started walking. I'm on my way to the bus stop. You can interview me if you can keep up. Julia broke into a jog to match his pace. Can't you hold still for a second? This won't take long. She looked at her notebook. What's your favorite thing about playing on the football team? That got Brody's interested. He loved talking about himself. He stopped and leaned against the brick wall of the gymnasium. Well, he said, my favorite thing about playing football is that I'm so great at it. If I'm being the star of the team, he flattened his biscuit like a bodybuilder. Julia didn't look impressed by that or by his answer either, but she scribbled a few notes. What valuable lessons have you learned from your teammates so far? That question wasn't nearly as interesting as the first one, in Brody's opinion. What kind of practice are you writing anyway? He said. Readers won't think about stuff like that. Maybe you should wait until the stick reporter gets back and let him write the story. He started to walk away. Then he felt Julia grab his arms. She had a strong grip for such a needy girl. Stop, he said, sounding annoyed. I told you I need to push. A sudden blast of air and sound interrupt her. The bricks of the gym wall seemed to angle and melt. They pull apart, leaving a narrow opening just tall and wide enough for a person to step through. Brody felt Julia's grip on him tighten as he looked through the crack. His eyes widened in shock. There was no sign of the gem entered through that crack in the wall. Instead, he saw a strange, shadowy space with stone walls. Two four figures stood there. One of the figures leaned through the crack. He had curly brown blonde hair and looked a few years older than Brody. His eyes glowed bright green. Hey, oh, Brody yelled as the mysterious finger grabbed him by the hair and yanked him through the crack.